Recording in progress.
Okay, excellent. So, good evening, everybody. I'm calling the meeting to order, and before we begin, I would like to ask the town manager to announce the protocols.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the town's YouTube. I ask that those within the room remain quiet unless they are involved in the discussion, and that those attending over Zoom keep their cameras off and microphones muted if they are not involved in the discussion. If you would like to speak and are on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature. For those in person, please speak audibly toward any microphones or the microphone on the lectern. Before you make your comments, please state your name and the street that you live on for record keeping purposes. If this meeting gets interrupted, we will immediately end the Zoom and send out a new link via Zoom. Now, back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So first is consideration of the agenda as presented.
Yeah. Here's. Before the council moves to consider the agenda as presented, I just wanted to make the council aware that a neighbor of one of the applicants tonight has asked that agenda item 5, which is the public hearing on 4905 Cumberland, be moved down in time as they are coming over from another engagement. And that's
So what time?
they asked to move it to after the tree removal permits. So between agenda items 8 and 9.
Okay, so would you like to make a motion, sir?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move item 5, which is the hearing of current application for 4905 Cumberland Avenue to beyond item 8. So it become the new item 8 and item 8 becomes 7 and so on.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? All those opposed, thank you. I think that was unanimous. So we will begin with our public comment period. If any resident or guest has a comment or question, now is the time. Is there anybody, Zoom land? No. Okay, thank you. We will move next to consideration of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So
Is there a second?
Second.
That's not how first. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? All those opposed? I think that passed unanimously. And the next item is the building report.
thank you.
Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you are aware, Doug Lohmeyer, our building permit administrator, Friday was his last day. He's officially retired from the town of Somerset. He'll still be doing some consulting with us for a little bit, and we're looking for his replacement. So today I'll be giving the building report, which is pretty much his final report. So let's go down the list. 4722 Cumberland Avenue. The architect has submitted a concept plan to make several additions to the existing house. Staff has reviewed the plans and provided comments to the architect. An ABL variance was granted by the council on November 4th, 2024. And now we're waiting for them to apply for their building permit. 4815 Cumberland, with currently after the council amended the driveway variance on November 18th. We are still working with the neighbors to ensure everything is satisfactory there before work begins. Paint has been put on the ground in regards to the proposed driveway replacement and new concrete apron. And now we're just waiting for the final approval from the neighbors. I heard from them today and they're reviewing the plans currently. 4714 Essex Avenue, the council granted a building permit and a demolition permit on July 1st, 2024. Work has not begun on this property and they still have not been approved by Montgomery County for work. 4712 Fallstone, the applicant has submitted a building permit application for the demolition and construction of a new home. We reviewed the plans and now they've been moved to stormwater review at Bayland. 4716 Fallstone, we're still working on the non-conforming fence with them. 2906 Fallstone, property owner received a building application permit on September 9th, 2024 to create a deck. The deck is currently being constructed. They said they should be done relatively soon. They made good progress on the project. 5515 Greystone Street, the applicant submitted an application to add a second story to the existing house. The work is almost done. We were actually waiting pretty much on the snow to all melt so we could check the site. So we actually should be closing that permit relatively soon. 5522 Greystone, they have an application to install several hardscape features on their front and backyard as part of landscaping, and now Bayland is reviewing it. 5529 Surrey, their house is still under construction, and we're still dealing with the fence issue that's been discussed previously. 5411 Trent, the homeowners are adding some hardscape features to the backyard and a new retaining wall. Once that work has been in progress. 5520 Trent, the property owner has submitted a concept plan to enlarge and cover a new front porch and build a carport. We've sent back our initial comments on the project. 5528 Trent Street, property owner plans on removing the existing house and building a new house. The council approved the application, work is ongoing, and the council extended the work until April 2025. 5412 Uppingham, property owner has submitted an application to build a new screen porch, and we're currently reviewing the plans. And it's been sent to Bayland. 5414 Uppingham, we observed some construction, so we reached out to them just to see what they're doing. Haven't heard back yet. And then with 5529 Uppingham, the property owner submitted an application to add a screen porch. And that is the Town of Somerset building report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Council President Barr, do you have any questions?
I have no questions on that report, no.
Councilor Circo,
No questions.
Councilor Hall,
No questions.
Councilor,
It's fine, thank you.
Councilor Rovak.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. So let me note that the time is 7:07. And remember, we have the 20-minute rule. So do we think, Mr. Town Manager, it's okay to proceed with the 4716 application? Okay, council, I assume everybody in the council is on the problem with that. So we will go to item number 6, the public hearing consideration of a variance application submitted by Deborah Goodings for the property located at 4716 Dorset Avenue for the replacement of the asphalt driveway and a reduction of the standard variance fee. So we begin. Today is February 3rd, 2025. This is a hearing before the town council of the town of Somerset for the building permit amendment application submitted. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, cool. And then I just changed it. For the building permit amendment application submitted by Deborah Goodings, who is seeking, number 1, to construct a new driveway for the property located at 4716 Dorset Avenue. The plans for the proposed driveway necessitate a variance. Number 2, specifically, the applicant is requesting a variance from Somerset Code section 1112-14E5B, which reads in pertinent part, all new or replacement driveways must be constructed of permeable materials. Number 3, in addition, the applicant is seeking a reduction of the standard variance fee. We ask that residents be limited to 1 comment each, and that they be limited to 2 minutes at a time. When you speak, please state your name and street before you make your comment. When your time is up, a buzzer will sound and you will be asked to please finish your thought. If you wish to speak on Zoom, the town manager will call on residents by listed name or the last 4 digits of the phone number if no name is provided. The hearing will observe the following order. First, the town staff will present findings, submit for the record a report on the application under consideration. Next, the applicant will present their application or comment on the report, whichever is appropriate. Finally, after that, the town council will have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant or staff relevant to the application at hand. Then other interested parties will have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant or present comments to the council. Then, if necessary, the applicant will have the opportunity for rebuttal testimony, after which the public comment period of the hearing shall be completed and the record closed. Finally, the council will deliberate and discuss among themselves the merits of the case, the findings of fact, and conclusions. The council may make a motion on a permit decision. If any opposition is presented, the town attorney will be asked to write a decision, and a permit shall not be issued before the expiration of 30 days to allow time for an appeal. If no opposition is presented, the town manager will be asked to issue a permit. We now begin this hearing with the presentation of the staff findings and reports. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since this is a variance hearing, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to our town attorney.
I'm not in a position to present on all the technical aspects of the request.
that-
I prepared an information report on the legal requirements for the variance. But-
Now comment instead. So basically, this application is for a variance. The applicant is seeking to replace the driveway in kind. It is currently made out of asphalt. That is a non-permeable surface. As our code requires, we require driveways to be made out of permeable materials. So the applicant is simply seeking to replace it with a non-permeable surface. That is the staff report.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, Mr. Town Attorney, you're gonna make your commentary after, at what point in the hearing?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I don't have comments to provide unless the council has questions.
Okay.
So I prepared a report, confidential report highlighting the legal requirements for a variance and the findings that the council needs to make and making suggestions for things that the council may want in the record.
Okay, thank you.
But
So you're just available for questions? and-
yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
That's
excellent.
correct.
Now, Ms. Goodings, thank you. You have the opportunity. Would you come over to the podium so people can see and hear your beautiful presentation? And we do have if you don't mind, we have a microphone so that people out in the.
You have to hold it.
Is that close to you? Is it on? Yep, there you go. Yes.
Yes.
Proceed, thank you.
There's so many screaming virtuals that we want to add a request to, but not to. Okay, so my name is Deborah Goodings. My husband, Bruce Swartz, and I have lived at 4716 North Avenue since we bought the house in 1995, so we are the owner occupiers of the house. And in brief, as has already been stated, we ask permission to replace our existing asphalt driveway, which slopes toward our house foundations with asphalt on the same footprint. So as has been noted, the town bylaws specify that permeable pavements must be used for the replacement driveway. However, the Montgomery County Department of the Environment and the permeable pavement technical design manual notes that if a driveway slopes toward a house, the permeable pavement is not recommended. The reason for that is that it is not good to add water to the foundation of the house because it undermines the stability of the foundation. So the town of Somerset, of course, has the prerogative to apply stricter requirements over what is set down by Montgomery County. But I would request in the interests of the engineering aspect of this that a variance be granted, considered be granted. And also your stormwater engineer, Christopher Stepp, also has indicated that he has reviewed and supports the request for variance. So I am happy to answer questions on that.
Okay,
And then if you want me to go on to the second one, I can do that.
well, why don't you present your
The whole thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
So the fee for requesting a variance is $1,000. And I understand there is a precedent for simple variance requests to have that reduced, so. I can propose an amount, but at this point, I'm just suggesting a reduction.
Okay, and is that?
Do you want me to propose?
It's up to you. Someone will probably ask
Yes,
you.
go ahead.
So in looking at the schedule of fees, I see that fees are typically for a simple project like this, $100. I understand that additional reviews were required for this, so I would understand the higher fee, but I would suggest that $1,000 is rather a high fee for such a simple variance.
Okay, thank you. Does that conclude your?
That's it.
Thank you. If you don't mind staying there, so.
I don't.
Okay, excellent. So now, Council President, Barr, do you have any questions?
How are you handling the drainage on the driveway at the moment?
The drain is into the garage. In our. And
Are
then
you-
it goes out the side door.
Are you okay with that as it stands?
The stormwater which comes onto our property from uphill far exceeds the amount of water that's coming down our driveway, so it's safe to store.
So you're not bothered by it, is what you're saying? You're not bothered by it currently?
By this driveway.
Okay, all right. That's my
That's
only
it.
question.
Thank you. Councilmember Sir, do you have any questions?
I just want to clarify, this is just replacing an old driveway with a new driveway,
On
the
the same-
same footprint. And it slopes down towards your house. It appears that for the last, my reading this, for the a little more than half of the length of the driveway, the slope is more than 5 degrees towards the house. Is that correct?
You mean slope,
The slope,
yeah.
sorry, the slope.
The grade is a little bit, averages for about half of it, 5.3%.
Okay.
If there, if the council would like to ask that that grade be modified, because the modification is so small, we can certainly address that. And of course, so as a civil engineer, I did the survey for it, and as.
Oh, you did the
You
drawing.
So you pick your points before you know what the values are, but the, you know, it's not a perfect concrete surface, so it would be 5.3 for the points that were originally surveyed. No, could be 4.8 if they had been slightly different.
So you took the measurements for the appendix 2 drawing of the driveway, the little.
I did.
Very good. The only question to follow up on what Robin asked, is it possible to install some sort of a drain at the bottom of the driveway where it enters your carport to catch some of that downflow so it doesn't go into your?
Do you mean as part of the permeable pavement or separately?
Separate, so let's say you put in asphalt, instead of just replacing asphalt and going all the way to the carport, why not put in one of those drains that's like 6 inches wide?
But then it has to go somewhere, the water that goes
Yeah.
into that drain, and the street is higher than the rest of the property.
All right, I don't have any further questions, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Heller.
I guess would have asked the same question that Steve asked, because I wondered if over the years you did look at other ways to drain the water away from your garage. Are there not ways to do that? Is that a naive question on my part?
I mean, from the garage, or,
Yeah.
I mean, it comes into the carport and then it drains out side entrance toward our
It's a
neighbor on
carport on the
the west
drive,
side.
not as many.
And they're okay with that? It's not flooding them, is it?
Yep.
All right, that's my question.
Councilmember Kumar, do you have any questions?
Yes, I was going to ask you, are you in a position to comment on the engineering concern?
It's
It
perfect.
sounds like you are in a position. So there were two.
I am a registered professional engineer.
Perfect. So you said there were engineering reasons, and what I understand are two engineering reasons. Is that correct? One is that it is sloping towards your house. And the other is that you're worried that that the water that might permeate might damage the foundation.
Those
Yeah.
two are actually connected by bringing the water down and then in the subgrade under the pavers for permeable pavement, the water is sitting there
Yes.
intentionally by the design, as you well know.
Yeah.
So it will permeate into the ground, but that is not good for the foundations when it's back.
And I just want to clarify, those are the two main engineering reasons. When you said earlier in their engineering reasons, are those the reasons why?
They are, and
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
for our site, they are.
okay. And just to clarify, while it goes into a open carport, not an enclosed garage, it's an open carport, it does, it has not been historically in cooling or water.
You know, there is, I mean, we didn't pave the carport, nor did we put in the original driveway, so. It
I
has
see.
created a channel by itself that
It's created, okay, interesting.
has got it.
Interesting.
So it comes in where the car goes in and
Yeah.
there's a side door. So perhaps the previous owners put that grading.
Understood, understood. Okay, that's it for me, thank you so much.
Councilmember Ravik, do you have any questions?
So is the only variance needed that the variance is for, it's not gonna be permeable?
Exactly.
Okay, I have no other questions.
Same area, everything.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, is there anyone in the room, or anybody who wishes to speak? No. Okay, thank you. So now I will turn it over to, thank you. So now I'll turn it over to the council president to lead the deliberations and decision.
All right. Yeah. Steve, why don't you start the discussion?
I thought of the argument that the engineering design manual for Maryland recommends against permeable pavers in this type of situation, and the fact that we're just talking about a one-for-one replacement of existing driveway. I'm comfortable with approving the proposed asphalt driveway. And I'm just sharing my thoughts that we can discuss, move the discussion along, and I would maybe recommend a fee of $200. Because we did have some additional costs for the town.
All right. Beer?
You do the other side.
Well, I just got to, whatever. Go ahead.
I'll go.
Okay.
All
go.
right, Shannon.
So I think that we should grant the variance, and I think that the fee should be like $100, because I actually think we need to look at this, like, again, because no one seems to be able to do a driveway, and there's always a reason why the permeable doesn't work. I mean, maybe we do something like, I don't know if you can do it like a benefit if they put in a permeable driveway, like we'll cut a fee or something like that. Like, I don't know, but I just don't think that this is really working intended, and for them to pay $1,000 to, have common sense say this is ridiculous. That's my thought.
All right, thank you. Debbie, since Kabir is being reluctant, so.
It's being chivalrous.
Hmm.
I guess I agree that, we do it one driveway, this makes sense to, take out what they have, put in something nicer, better, whatever. But on the variance, here's my question. On the cost of the variance, what is our cost to do a variance? So instead of coming up with an arbitrary number, what does it cost us to do a variance? And if it's $1,000, then it's $1,000. If it's 200, it's 200. But I think we need to look at our fee structure and designate a fee that makes sense for the project. So that goes to you, EJ, or to you.
Yeah, I would say with your building permit administrator's time, with my time, it's well over $1,000. It's probably around 3,000.
I was about to say, I can give a rough estimate of 1325 for this.
Okay, so whereas,
But I'm hearing that as a policy decision, the council may find that this type of request should not be subjected to a variance, and that the code needs to be amended. And given that consideration, you could lower the fee in this case, as you did with respect to a prior case as referenced by the applicant where that was a driveway and a fence, right? And the fee was waived in that case.
And Kabir.
Yeah, I can see reasons why we would grant variance here, in part because it's sloping towards the house and the whole idea of a permeable driveway so that we can capture water before it leaves the property. In this case, it's kind of an interesting situation where you're living with this reality. I am less reluctant on the fees because I suspected that we were probably lower than the actual costs. So, but I appreciate Ron's opinion that, and Shannon's view that we may want to relook at this and change the code. I don't have an opinion on the fee. I think it should be at cost, and that's why they are there. But if the rest of the council members want to grant, you know, some grace on the fees, I would be happy to go.
Can I jump back in?
Go ahead.
I'm all for the whole grace thing, but I think we need to be careful.
Yes.
Because what's next? If we're gonna change our fee structure for something like this, so be it.
Yes.
But if we do less on this one, then we need to be ready that's our bar.
Well, and the last one, the precedent that was brought up, I think we established hardship in our deliberation. I don't remember the details. So there was a hardship thing. I didn't hear a hardship thing. So, I'm sort of less reluctant. I don't want it to be arbitrary. At the same time, I agree that we need to look at both, why is it that expensive potentially? And then two, whether we need to relook at the driveway. You know, go ahead. Felt like you didn't say something.
No, I was just recalling the hardship argument from the prior case, and that was
Am I recalling
because it was such a
correctly?
small project, the cost of hiring an engineer would outweigh the cost of doing the
That's
actual
right. I
work.
think it was established
Mhm.
and we looked at the numbers. So just to be clear, again, I understand and we may want to give grace, but that was the precedent.
But what I'm hearing is we're all in favor of the variance. The question is what amount of fee do we wish to charge? And the argument I'm hearing is that our code is not perfect. And actually, I resonate with that because we've had a case before where the driveway sloped towards the house and we just did not cover that at all in the code. The code is also missing that when a driveway is running very close to a house, you really cannot have a permeable driveway because the water is going to flow into the foundation, as was pointed out to us. So the argument then is because our code is incomplete, we should not charge the whole fee. That's the logic of it. And if we accept that logic, then we should have a lower fee. I think Steve's 200 is nearer where we should charge Shannon than your 100, if that's all right. Are we all okay with that generally, or?
I was gonna say that we should charge 500. Because our fees are so much higher than this, and yet, you know, that I think that I understand that it's a high fee, it seems ridiculous because of the work that's being done, but we did do the work. We hired somebody to go out there and do the work. And besides our attorney fees, but,
I'm inclined to do a 50% discount.
But
on
did,
this one as well.
but did we hire someone to go out and,
well, our,
Balin had to do it.
Yeah.
oh, they looked at it?
Yeah.
And Doug and me, three
Did,
contractors looked at it.
so have we, since the driveway has been in the code for you must replace with permeable, have we had one house be able to put in a permeable driveway?
I would have to double check that.
And that's early days yet.
Huh?
Yeah, the sample may not
We
be
haven't actually-
reflective of what's possible before, despite the weaknesses of it, just, you know.
But I mean, every single new house, new build has not been able to do it.
Yeah, but we've only had a handful.
Yeah, but I mean, there've been several new houses and like, you know, the spirit is of one in which the houses that are replacing the existing houses are generally taking up a lot more impermeable space than before. when you have a like-to-like driveway in the situation and they're not using, it's not permeable and they're making it non-permeable.
Maybe I could say it's a good topic for a work session, especially since we generally should revise the code.
Yeah.
But- so
Yeah.
Let's get this item finished here as well.
Yeah, that's fine, but I think $500 for something that we're not able to ever get through is high for something like this.
No.
They just want to change their driveway.
The way to look at the fees is that this came to the council through a process and we incurred costs.
I understand, but
That's why we established, and in fact, the fee didn't even cover our costs.
no, I totally understand that, but
What?
but no one's ever been able to put in a driveway that matches that. We should be
That's a
not
very
having
important fact
that in
to
our
mention.
code and we should not be charging it,
I think
bringing in
can't
Balin
afford it.
for it because.
we
Okay.
should
Oh,
do a
the-
work session on, hold one second. I'll appreciate your opinion, but we should do a work session on that. And to revise
we
the
should.
code along the lines Robin was mentioning, if it's next to the house, if it's down, we can revise that. Good.
To the extent it helps in your discussions, the prior applicant, the fee was reduced to $200.
Okay, okay,
If
all
that,
right, I
So
appreciate
that
that.
does something to strike memory.
So,
I appreciate that.
Councilor Ravenscraft, you were going to make a motion on the
Me?
fee, on variance and the free.
I would make a motion that we approve the variance and we lower the fee to $200.
I'll second that.
Okay, is it, Mr. Tenford, that's the
Kind of amendment?
submission.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there discussion?
I amend it first, no, later.
And
You can propose an
Okay,
amendment.
you,
I propose an amendment.
That's like a friendly-
yes.
Need a
It's
second
friendly
for
amendment.
Yes.
What is the amendment?
What's your-
The amendment would be that we do approve the variance, but we change the fee to $500.
Okay, is there a second on that?
Second,
Okay, so now you can discuss.
The
So right
amendment.
now, it's, the variance is approved and what's on the table
But
is
we haven't-
$500.
We haven't approved the variance yet, but that's for the amendment.
we haven't approved anything.
No, no, no. What I'm saying is the motion is to approve the variance and the fee has been the amendment is $500 as opposed to the primary motion $200. So the discussion on the motion as amended.
Yes, so do we, is there any
So is there
interest on the
discussion?
500? If not, we can vote it down, go back.
yeah, call it up.
All right, well, I mean, I'm in favor of 200, Debbie, because I think really there's a fault in our code and we need to fix our code. And
Okay.
so I think we should be down.
I'm okay with it. Just-
Okay, so
So
we vote on the.
So we would have lost it.
is there,
That's the point.
there's a motion on the table, so the motion is for $500. All those in favor?
This too.
Just
All
to-
those opposed? Okay, so the motion, so the amendment fails. So now the motion is to approve the variance with the $200 fee. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? All those opposed, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Goodings. We will now move to.
Thank you very much. If you would like, if you would like help looking at the bylaws, I'd be very happy to help.
Yeah.
You
Thank
should
you.
have Christopher Stead. This record is.
He's very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so the next item is public hearing consideration of a building permit application submitted by Jamie Miller and Dudley folks for the property located at 4904 Fallstone Avenue for the installation of a retaining wall, installation of an HVAC unit, and placement of a dumpster. So we begin. Today is February 3rd, 2025. This is a hearing for the town council of the town of Somerset for the building permit amendment application submitted by Dudley folks and Jamie Miller, who are seeking, number one, to install a retaining wall around the existing walkout basement entrance at the left rear of the existing house. Second, to install a new HVAC unit at the rear of the house, and three, to place a temporary dumpster on their property related to some interior work being undertaken. We ask the residents be limited to one comment each, and they may be limited to 2 minutes at a time. When you speak, please speak before you make your comment. When your time is up, a buzzer will sound and you will be asked to please finish your thought. If you wish to speak on Zoom, town manager will call in residents by listed name or the last four digits of the phone number if no name is provided. The hearing will observe the following order. First, the Somerset staff will present findings and submit for the record a report on the application under consideration. Then the applicants will present or make a comment on the report, present the application, or make comments on the report. Next, the town council will have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant or staff relevant to the application at hand. Next, other interested parties will have the opportunity to ask a question of the applicant or present comments to the council. Then, if necessary, the applicant will have the opportunity for rebuttal testimony, after which the public comment period of the hearing shall be completed and the record closed. Lastly, the council will deliberate and discuss among themselves the merits of the case, the findings of fact and conclusions. Council may make a motion on a permit decision. If any opposition is presented, the town attorney will be asked to write a decision, and a permit shall not be issued before the expiration of 30 days to allow time for an appeal. If no opposition is presented, the town manager will be asked to issue a permit. We now begin this hearing with the presentation of the staff findings. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So back in November 2024, Dudley Phelps and Jamie Miller, the property owners at 4904 Fallstone, filed a building permit application for the town of Somerset. As previously mentioned, they're looking to install a retaining wall around the existing walkout basement entrance at the left rear of the existing house, install a new HVAC unit at the rear of the house, and place a temporary dumpster on their property related to some interior work being undertaken. As a reminder, we do not regulate interior work. The Montgomery County Department of Permitting Services issued their permits for the project back in November. In December, our permit administrator gave their seal of approval, not in time for the January council meeting though. And then the applicant has stated that work would begin in early February, and they would expect work to be completed in June 2025. Former permit administrator Doug Lohmeyer reviewed the project and found that it complied with the town code. Our town arborist drafted a tree protection plan, and then I sent a notice 10 days in advance to abutting properties of the hearing. I have not received any comments from any neighbors, and that concludes the staff report.
And does Dr. Ferguson? Is he commenting?
If you
Excellent. Sorry.
No trees are gonna be removed, and we're only protecting maybe there are 3 trees in front, is all that's required.
Okay, thank you. So which applicant? You're gonna come,
Hey, Grant Soller, our,
oh, cool,
project builder.
oh, excellent,
Is gonna talk,
oh, okay, so is that,
This
yeah.
Grant,
Okay,
yeah.
so if he can identify himself. Thank you for attending, sir. If you could identify yourself and either present the application or comment on the report, whichever you prefer.
First, can you hear? I can hear myself. It sounds good. All right, my name is Grant Saller. I'm a registered architect in Maryland, and as the comments or the introduction to the project a moment ago, most of this is interior work. We have the retaining wall, which is 48 inches tall to 0, under an existing addition. So this is going to create a new walkout basement configuration. To one new air conditioning unit to go next to 2 existing in the rear, and then we are going to, given the limited space on Fallstone Avenue, squeeze our dumpster on the driveway for the remainder of the project. And that is it in a nutshell.
Thank you so very much. Council President Barr, do you have any questions?
The only question is about why now for the retaining wall? In other words, you've been in the house quite a while. Why are you putting in a retaining wall at this point?
Yeah, it's an area where, well, do you want to answer? Well, I can answer because that's right now. It's an area where.
Probably should be on the mic, actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, it'd be good if you came up. Thank you.
All right. Hello?
Yep.
Okay. it's an area under an addition that was done, to the property, like a cantilever addition that was done, to the property, in the, I believe, in the late eighties, early nineties, we're not entirely sure. But so it's just a pile of dirt under there, it's always been, so our basement, windows look out on a big pile of dirt, and we just decided to clear out some of that dirt, have a retaining wall, and have some usable space under there that we could exit through and maybe store some things underneath.
So it's creating space for you and storage space for you.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Anything else go on?
That's my question.
Okay, Councilmember
Thanks, Mark.
Circo, do you have any questions?
I just want to, I see a lot of brickwork in the drawing, and I can't tell if that's all sort of existing brickwork, or whether you're adding any exterior, are you changing the footprint of the house?
No.
Thank you. No other questions?
Councilmember Howard, do you have a question?
Just, on the AC unit, I see the picture where there's two in the back,
Yeah,
and you're getting a third?
it's a little one for a mini split for an unfinished garage
Okay.
that we're gonna use as an exercise room, so it'll be,
I see.
it'll be right next to them, it's about as big as a suitcase.
Okay, I know what those things are. Thank you.
Is it
Yeah, that's it.
Councilmember Kumar?
I had a question, so we don't then for EJ, we don't need to do a sound test of the HVAC, forgetting.
No, we would do a sound test.
You would do a sound test.
Once it's
So
installed.
the HVAC permit would stipulate the
Yeah.
sound.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect.
You're done.
I'm done.
Thank you. Councilmember Robert, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Is anyone in the audience or on? Okay, I will turn it over to the council president to lead the deliberations and decision. You can say
I
that.
can say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, start this side this time. Debbie, your thoughts on this one?
I think it's pretty straightforward, green light.
All right, and Kabir?
Straightforward for me too.
All right. Shannon, any thoughts?
I agree with them.
And Steve?
Yep, no issues.
This one's going to be a breeze, all
Okay,
right.
So you're prepared to make a motion, Mr. President?
And-
I-
Anyone online?
no comments? Okay, I move we approve the building permit application submitted by Jamie Miller and Dudley Folks for their home at 4904 Fallstone for the installation of a retaining wall, installation of an HVAC unit, and the temporary placement of a dumpster. Second.
Okay, is that legal?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so I think I saw Councilman Kumar second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you, thank you. very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, okay. So now we will go back to earlier item. Example, okay. Isn't everybody here for, everybody's here for 49.5, and we're ahead. So I'm gonna go back to item. Formally, item 5. So this is a public hearing consideration of a permit amendment application for the property located at 4905 Cumberland Avenue, submitted by Guido, and isn't it Bratsal? Sorry. Because I looked it up. Brett Charlie, okay. I think I got it right last time, anyway. Who are seeking, number one, to amend their previously approved site plan to add a detached garage, a retaining wall. Second, to amend their previously approved stormwater management plan to account for the addition of the detached garage. And the hearing will observe the following order. First, is staff will present their findings and submit for the record a report on the application under consideration. Next, the applicant will present the application or comment on the report. Next, the town council will have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant or staff relevant to the application in hand. Then other interested parties will have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant with certain limitations that I will read if there are any, or present comments to the council. Then, if necessary, the applicant will have the opportunity for rebuttal testimony, after which the public comment period of the hearing shall be completed and the rest enclosed. Finally, the council will deliberate and discuss among themselves the merits of the case, the findings of fact, and conclusions. The council may make a motion on the permit decision. If any opposition is presented, the town attorney will be asked to write a decision, and a permit shall not be issued before the expiration of 30 days to allow time for an appeal. If no opposition is presented, the town manager will be asked to issue a permit. And we begin the hearing with the presentation of the staff findings and reports.
And Mr. Mayor, there is a preliminary matter.
Thank you.
Mr. Borek, through counsel Michelle Rosenfeld, has submitted a request for a continuance. And,
She's on Zoom, by the way.
okay, and she's now with us?
Yep, she's on Zoom.
So she
So we
can,
should give her. the
she can
opportunity.
present that request, yes.
Okay, good
And
evening.
before we do,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Mayor, and she also submitted written testimony today at 2:42 PM. Wanted to make sure that's in the record. And have you seen that, Mr. Gordon? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So, it's Ms. Rose.
I brought it up.
If you could, put on your video and present your request. Thank you. Good evening.
Yes, thank you very much. As many of you may recall, this application had been presented in a different format to the council about 6 months ago. The pending permit right now has extensive modifications to the property in the form of extensive new and revised stormwater management plans. It introduces a lengthy driveway, a new garage, and a retaining wall that immediately abuts the property line of my clients who live right next door. And we need time to review and evaluate this information. We need time to consult with our engineer. I have been out and our engineer has been unable to adequately review these documents. Given the history of this property and the fact that there's no immediate urgency for the council to hear this tonight, and the fact that my clients have a significant vested interest in making sure that they're fully informed about the changes, we would request a postponement to allow my clients adequate time to prepare their comments to the council.
Okay, thank you. So the process is that now the applicant gets to speak and then the council can then ask questions and vote,
Yes,
and then they will deliberate, but there's no requirement for public comment on that.
correct. That's
Okay,
correct.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So with the applicant, whoever's represented, please come and identify yourself and respond to the.
Good evening. Oops, sorry about that. I'll do that again. Good evening, Matt Gordon on behalf of the applicants. Our position is that the materials are in the record. They followed all the processes and requirements to submit this amendment. And we agree with the town staff and the consultants that have found that it meets all requirements under the town code. And that we're prepared to proceed tonight. I think as you recall, the last time we were here in May, it was after an extensive delay to get to that point. And the applicant felt that it was critical at that time to get the building permit for the principal structure approved. And had an opportunity to go back to the drawing board and come up with a garage that meets all the town code standards and requirements. It doesn't require any variances and it's as of right. So we think there's sufficient information for this body to review this evening, and that it would be unnecessary to delay this further. Thank you.
Thank you. And you could just stay there in case there, so people can see. Council President Barr, do you have any questions?
So this is on whether the application should be continued to a later date at this point, right?
Yes.
Correct.
I really want to get you to answer what I heard. Is the proposed retaining wall really on the edge of the property backing up to the neighbor's property? Because we've got setbacks that should govern that.
And Eric, please, is auto on.
Who you ask?
Civil engineers.
Well, I'm asking whoever is going to be responding, it is really the owners should respond. The In other words, it's been alleged that the retaining wall is
Okay,
backing.
so remember to identify yourself, because.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Versade, I'm the owner of 4905.
Yeah,
right.
And then, the retaining wall is gonna be 1 foot from the property.
It's 1 foot from property
Yes,
line.
correct.
It is very close. All right, thank you.
Yeah, and then in the stormwater management, drawings that being sent, it basically there's a clear picture of how this, retaining wall is being built. And I.
I saw that, yes, right. So it is very close to the neighbor's property then?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So that's your last question.
No, second, are you adding a driveway at this point?
Yes,
You are adding a driveway?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're adding the driveway and the retaining wall, turning the carport into a garage.
yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you remember the story, and basically, you guys changed the code multiple times while I was going through my, to the process. And then, we went through 5 different stormwater management, plans. And then 3 days before the day we were supposed to, present, we were told that your office made a few mistakes. And so, we had to basically just look at the plan again. And then, honestly, my civil engineer, I couldn't make it anymore. And then, we did what we could, and I hired a different company to look at the project, and they came up with a way to basically satisfy all the town requirements. And then, so that I can have my.
All right. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you, Council Member Circa.
Well, we're talking everyone here. So I noticed that the Attorney Rosenfeld had her hand raised at one point to make a comment. Can I ask her what she wants to say?
Yes, yep.
Wouldn't she be able to?
Yes,
rebut
yeah, you
after-
as the-
After the questions.
You can follow whatever procedure you want, but the hearing body, the council, can indeed ask both attorneys to.
No, I understand,
argue and
but
comment.
but who gets the right to rebut? The person making the request, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so Ms. Rosenfeld, would you mind waiting until all the council has asked questions and do a complete rebuttal then? Or would you rather do it
Sure.
one by one?
I'm happy to wait. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Councilor Circo.
Yeah, I think I have 2 questions. One on the driveway. Does any part of this driveway need to be permeable in accordance with the town's driveway code, stormwater management code? So that's separate from the county.
And I think this question really should be directed to Jay.
What?
Or to this, to air. Right, based on, my understanding is that if the slope is greater than 5%.
That is correct.
You're allowed to put a cement. And then I leave it to cement in the area where the car is forced to go straight. And then the other areas, basically, I had to basically, just have cement for.
Sorry, the other areas are what?
Before, there is one area that is basically around, next to the house.
I see.
In that case, the car goes straight. And so it was okay for me just to put 2 strips of cement.
Oh, I
And
see.
then to limit basically the amount of cement that I was using.
Okay.
And then, but before and after, basically, I did cement.
Okay.
For the driveway. And then also because Montgomery County, my understanding is Montgomery County forced you in the first 10 feet from the house to use impermeable material. And so that was my understanding, so that they.
Mr. Mayor, I can add that
Yep.
the existing permit and decision approving the permit provides that although the driveway is to be replaced, the new driveway need not be constructed of permeable materials per the town code because the slope is greater than 5%. So the council made that finding in connection with the hearing in May.
And I was just gonna add to that,
Thank
Balin
you.
has reviewed these plans.
Okay.
I want to make sure, Ms. Rosenfeld, can you hear everything?
I can hear most of it. I'm having a little bit of difficulty understanding the applicant.
Okay, can you?
I'm gonna speak up.
Did you need to ask him any questions about what he just said?
It sounds to me as if you are not going to use any impervious material on the driveway. Did I understand that correctly?
You can,
I'm going to use them.
he's going to use cement.
Thank you.
So other than that, and now you can hear him.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Councilor
Okay,
Zuckerman.
and one other question, the retaining wall.
Yes.
I don't recall the details of the county code, but I believe that you can have a retaining wall close to the property line as long as the height is low.
Right.
Can
They just
you
draw
or
it.
your engineer clarify that?
Eric, if you wanna answer the question or anything.
Yes, this is Eric Tidd with Cass Engineering. We're the engineer on the project. The plan shows the retaining wall at the closest point to the right of way. It's 6 inches tall. And then as you go back towards the rear of the property, it goes to just under 3 feet. And it's all in a cut situation, so it's not a visible wall from the neighbor.
Okay. But what is the limit? Like if you have a fence,
Montgomery County allows retaining walls less than 6.5 feet in height to be quote unquote on the property line. Anything beyond 6.5 feet in height, they're considered accessory structures and then held to Montgomery County accessory structure setbacks.
okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
No further questions.
Councilor Helen, do you have any questions?
I'm just not understanding this retaining wall business. What, do we have rules about the retaining wall? The county is 1 foot from the property line and we are,
We have front setbacks. We don't have setbacks from adjoining properties.
oh, really?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
It sounds to me as if we are talking about the merits of the application. Are we still on the preliminary discussion with respect
Yes.
to whether or
Yes.
not there would be a postponement? Thank
So
you.
are you objecting to any of these questions?
I'm just trying to make sure I clearly understand where we are in the process.
Okay, so-
And I have no concerns about questions if these relate to the things you need to consider in whether or not you approve or deny a postponement.
Okay, so be sure to put all that in your rebuttal. So it's clear at the end before they start discussing.
Right.
Thank you.
Requests.
So, can I just sort of summarize at the moment? This is about whether there is a need for a continuance. Okay,
Yes.
that's what the
Yes.
focus is at the moment.
Okay.
Is there enough
Right.
Good,
of a
okay,
change here
okay.
that people need time to study
Okay,
it?
They
Okay.
understand that. Okay.
Thank you.
If I just have, just follow up on
We'll do
that?
second round.
Okay, well, I'll just,
We'll do second.
that's good.
Councilor Kumar.
I appreciate that clarification because I was wondering whether we are probing the continuation or not. So on that front, I have a question for the attorney Rosenfeld, if I can ask her a question. I'm not sure.
Yes, you
If I can. Okay. When did you receive the materials?
We received the materials at the time the application was, we received notice of the hearing 10 days ago.
10 days ago. Okay.
Correct.
Now, you said you were not able to review the materials over these 10 days. I didn't quite understand why you were not able to review the materials over the 10 days.
We were able to look at the materials. We were not able to have them thoroughly reviewed by our engineer because of his workload. And the changes, you heard the applicant explain that there were significant modifications to the design of the garage itself. Just looking at the plans, I, as a layperson, can see there were significant changes to the stormwater management plan. There's significant additional impervious coverage beyond what had been approved in the last permit. And there's a retaining wall that runs 150 feet, the length of the property, a foot set off about a foot from the shared property line. There is a differential in grade, and given the fact that number one, the changes are significant. Number two, they seriously impact drainage. And number three, because this is a driveway and a garage, it does not seem to me that there would be any prejudice to the applicant for a 30-day continuance for us to review these carefully with technical experts who can look at that and advise us with respect to the scope of the change and the potential impact of the change, that a 30-day postponement really would be harmless. These changes will be there for a very long time. And so my client has an interest in ensuring that he understands what's being presented, so that if he has concerns, he can articulate them to you through the eyes of someone other than a layperson. And that's the basis for our continuance request.
I appreciate that. A quick follow-up. I cannot ask you to speak just now. Hold on. A quick follow-up is,
Sure.
but in your opinion, that process was followed in getting you the materials 10 days in advance of the hearing?
Technically, the process was followed. That's correct.
Okay.
And, you know, but we don't have any control over when that information comes out. And we have done our due diligence to try and get these materials thoroughly and timely reviewed. And under the circumstances, we are asking that the council exercise its discretion to give us more time to do that.
Okay, I appreciate that. I have a question now for the staff. Ron, could you remind us, what did we permit last time? And then what is different? Or what are the additions made in the application this time to establish whether it is indeed substantive changes?
Okay, so are you able to do that?
Yeah.
engineer?
So let me pull up the decision.
So yeah, the initial decision was for new house, detached garage, which was removed, driveway, installation of 2 HVAC
The
units.
original application had a detached garage.
Yes.
Which was then subsequently removed when?
Prior to the hearing,
Prior here, okay?
and removal of 12 trees. That was the demolition, dumpster, tree removal, and then permit application for new house, detached garage, driveway, installation of 2 HVAC units, and removal of 12 trees, and then the garage was removed.
And
From the
on,
requ-
so on the garage, it was removed. On the driveway, it's the same? Or it's different?
I'm not able to answer
so
that.
Go ahead.
Part of how maybe this will help is I can show you the site plan previously approved real quick.
Sure.
And then I can show you what it looks like now. I'll share the screen.
Robin, I'm asking because the packet
you
was
have to
not
explain what you're asking.
clear, unfortunately.
So this was the site plan that the council previously approved. Try to
Can you zoom in?
zoom in as much as I can. I'll focus on the main areas. I don't know if you can see my mouse is
Yes,
the driveway here. This is where the retaining wall will be, has been proposed now. And here you have a planter box. This is where the detached garage is. And then this is kind of left untouched. And the revised site plan adds on the right side of the house, including the retaining wall, the back, including the proposed garage, and this is the new stormwater management feature.
so but the driveway is the same? That's what I'm trying to discern.
Oh, the driveway itself?
Yes.
Yes.
Doesn't look to be the same.
It's not.
Okay.
Like in terms of.
The driveway, in terms of how it's engineered.
Oh,
it's
the engineering
different.
is different, yes.
The carport is now, the garage is back.
Yeah.
And then as a result of that, there's a proposed new stormwater.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's it for me. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. Councilor Rovak, do you have any questions?
When did you guys when was this plan first discussed with the town?
This was submitted to the town back in December
December?
for our review.
I mean, the changes.
Yes, the revised plan
The
was submitted
revised
to the
plan.
town in December.
And then, but then it gets to them just with 10 days.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I definitely agree that 10 days is
Well,
not
you're
enough
the-
time.
You'll be discussing
Questions?
it. Now it's just you have questions for. And
Do
then
you
can
have to get
deliberate.
this done through Montgomery County?
Yeah.
And, but has it been submitted to them?
Yeah.
And so do you know do you anticipate when their time,
Any day.
any day now? And I mean, due to the nature of the original house situation, did you guys just not want to bring it to the next door neighbors and kind of fill them in on what was going on?
And we prefer to follow the process. This is the process. It's what we're doing.
Okay. Cause, okay, well, it's not my position.
You'll be debating this soon, but do you have any other questions? So you have enough information to debate. And we're gonna do a second round.
Can I add one minute on? Is that my neighbor property is 8 feet above mine on average. So, I mean, from a stormwater management perspective, I personally am not an expert. Personally, I don't see any problem.
You don't what?
I don't see any problem from a stormwater management perspective because he's located 8 feet
Above the hill.
above.
Yeah. But I wonder, did we give notice to the people that are down the hill,
We gave notice to all abutting properties,
including Drummond?
not Drummond. Our code doesn't require us to give notice to Drummond
So just the next door neighbors on both sides?
in across the street.
Oh, across the street counts?
Full properties.
I think 5.
Five.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then, do I have another question?
Well, I'm gonna do a second round in case you,
Okay, I can't remember my other question.
maybe you will. Council President Moore, do you have any further questions?
Yeah, the attorney for the neighbors has said that it's of no matter to you to continue it for 30 days, so that the hearing is at our next meeting. Is that true? Is it no matter to you?
No,
So what are the costs to you?
I kind of quantify, there are so many variables involved that between the property taxes, interest, delays, and so on, it's
So it's financial as well as
no
inconvenience.
doubt about. I mean, I'm gonna have the wood floor delivered tomorrow, and the kitchen is delivered. Things are moving fast.
All right.
I cannot delay.
Thank you.
Council Member Circle, did you have a further question?
Well, Robin asked a question I was gonna ask.
Oh, sorry. No, just had a good idea, so.
I had a question for Ron, but do I wait until we have our internal deliberations?
That's a good idea.
Well, no, I'll let him hold that secret if he wishes. Do we have any basis to postpone or delay this request since the applicant followed the process?
So it's a difficult question. I think the council's on the right track in weighing the equities. The applicant argues that this is a request for construction as of right. And so the code only requires 10 days notice. It's not a full-fledged adversarial hearing like a variance. You know, on the other hand, the applicant's neighbors do have a due process right in making sure the permit is properly issued under the town code. I apologize for saying out loud, oh, you know, I had a good idea, but I'm, you know, thinking about what might be fair to both parties, and just for the council's consideration, I'll note that the town code provides that any person aggrieved by a decision on whether a permit is issued can appeal that to the town council. So this isn't necessarily the neighbor's last opportunity. If the hearing on the permit application were to proceed tonight, the applicant's neighbors can appeal the decision on whether the permit was properly entered. And so, you know, that just, let me make sure I have the timing right.
Is that an appeal to the council or does that go up to the county at that point?
No, to the council.
The
Yes,
council.
yes, I want to make sure that's right.
But I think that this discussion is better after the residents start.
I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, I think we should. hold
Oh,
on
wait,
to
wait a
this.
minute. I think I made a mistake. This appeal is from a decision by the mayor. So a decision by the full council would go right to the circuit court. So yeah, I apologize for that. It wasn't a good idea.
Okay, so do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay, Councilor Howell, do you have any questions? Yeah,
Two questions, only one of which I can remember. So your house is built and you're getting ready to put in your
Correct.
kitchen and do all that.
Correct.
So if the garage comes later, you can still live in your house. You don't get an occupancy
No, I
permit
don't.
based on your garage, do you?
I need to put in the stormwater management to add the occupancy permit. I cannot just
Right,
move it like that.
okay, and the stormwater management plan has changed because of the garage and the retaining wall.
The stormwater management change, yes, because of
Okay, so that's the problem here. Okay,
I think the stormwater management is better. Just before there was a planter box made of cement. It was not pretty. And then now it's all it's sort of fire retention area and so on, so I think that it's, I don't know, from our perspective, that we look at the property and then we feel that what we created, it fits better the property, it's a better look and so on.
okay, all right,
And by the way, one thing I want to correct, we're not building 150 feet of the retaining wall. I mean, I don't know where the law is from. I need to adopt 150 feet, because I think my property is not even 150.
When you're talking, you kind of keep
I'm
it.
sorry, I didn't know.
It's no problem. It's no problem.
Ms. Roosevelt, did you hear all that?
Yes, and if I may, when the time is right, I'd like to make two additional comments.
You will have a chance. We're almost finished the round, then you'll have a chance before these are the break. So you're finished with questions. Councilor Heller.
I'm done.
Thank you. Councilor Kumar, do you have any further questions?
Yes, I have a question for the town staff. Have we completed our process of assessing this application?
Yes.
But why isn't there a more detailed report from Baylor? Given the extensive nature of the stormwater intervention, it's barely half a page.
I think, since I think Balin saw it as more of
As
a,
complying, as over and beyond the code, complying with the code?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
But didn't give a full report was because of, it was submitted to them as just a simple permit amendment.
I see.
And so they didn't view it as a full application.
But did they scrutinize?
But they did scrutinize it, and it did have to go back for a second round.
Okay,
It went through the whole process, I know.
okay.
And I can have I obviously can't be ready tonight, but I can have them, draft a detailed report for the council.
How long will that take?
I'll have to check with them. I assume not long.
Less than 10 days?
I would assume so, yes.
Guido, if we continue this for 10 days, would that impose an undue hardship on you? Not 30 days, but 10 days.
Unfortunately, I think so. I mean, even Patrick show up the other day, and then I had to send home like the people working in this year. And then, and I told them the following day, oh, you can come back, and now, since Patrick is more like sort of in control, right? And then obviously they didn't come back. And then, I don't know when I'm gonna see them, hopefully next week, sometimes next week. So, I mean, everything is like,
It's like,
and like, for example, the retaining wall that I built on the left side, it's important to put it up because I need to put the gas line there. And then I need to be ready when the gas line, so one of gas decides to go up, when they never get any people, companies
But is it fair to say that 30 days is unreasonable, 10 days might be better than 30 days? If you do?
10 days better than 30 days, obviously, I mean, that's a simple thing. But in, saying that even 10 days are not gonna check me, no,
That's not true. Okay,
they're not.
okay, okay. I appreciate
And
that.
as I was saying, we are painting, drywall is coming, I'm sorry, our roof will come tomorrow. And then even the hard floor, coming tomorrow, next week, the hard floor guy is supposed to come. If it's by the 14th, it's not done, you know, for whatever reason, then my kitchen gets this high leak. Everything is leaked. This is a projects like this, there's small things, but everything is linked. One delay can cause several delays. I mean, think about the fact that the town made a mistake on my application. I was thinking, okay, I'll put 2 car parts and move on with my life. It took 3 months to get approved by more than 3 months. I mean, that little thing, it cost me $35,000. So, you know, and then at this stage of the process, where basically, you know, you're spending money, you know, you just want to get it done and move on.
Appreciate it. I want to follow up on, thank you for that. One thing I do remember from the last hearing was there were a set of trees in the back right side of the property.
Yes.
What is the impact of your updated proposal on those trees?
There is no tree plan change.
That would be a good question for our arborist.
Then if the same trees are protected.
And in your assessment, there's no
There's
additional.
no change.
So those were, I remember they were like 12, 13, 14, there were some numbers. There was, okay,
So there's this thing.
no, it was here, the trees were here.
They 12, 13, 14, were the 3 trees that.
Were kind of the fencing between your property and they were on the property line, if I remember.
No,
correctly.
that's correct.
That was 40.
On the other side, maybe.
On the other side,
No, it's
Yeah, I think you're thinking 40.
I'm pretty sure they were here, but
I have a report from the holder, and then there were 3 trees somewhere. There was 12, 13, 14.
yeah,
There was a 4 inches
Yes.
red bud, and 6 inches the cherry tree, and then a great marble that you guys.
You know these trees
didn't
well
even
now, huh?
Allow me to replace the
But
time,
then here.
and then
yes,
they used to be 13, 14 feet from the property line. And
Yeah.
then they used to be basically where my foundation is. And so that's.
you removed those, okay, that was. And Ms. Rosenfeld, would you or your client like to make any additional clarifications? Your client.
Oh, she's gonna rebut.
Can I
so-
ask my other questions?
Okay, hold on.
Okay,
Okay, do you have any other questions?
oh, okay, no more questions.
Okay, Councilor Rebut.
You guys, so because you don't have a Montgomery County permit, you can't do this work regardless.
Right.
So, I mean, us holding it back a certain amount of days isn't gonna impact that work because Montgomery County hasn't permitted it.
We already received comments from one of my company, already replied, I think Eric might say, maybe able to say something. Eric, can you say something about it? Okay.
Yes, this is Eric Tidcast Engineering again. Yes, we have resubmitted these final plans to the county for their final approval, which, like Guido said earlier, is pending any day.
But, okay, no, I mean, it's just that the work can't be done regardless, and no one knows, right, when Montgomery County's actually gonna sign off on it. I mean, they can tend to take their time, right?
Eric, speak to casinos where it is in the cycle.
I mean, generally, I would say that while timelines do vary between reviewers, more often than not, reviewers will take second or third review comments ahead of other plans, sort of as an attempt to kind of fill in their day. Obviously, that's not a guarantee, but in 20 plus years of practice, that seems to be their general MO. But you're right. I have no guarantees that it will be tomorrow, but it could certainly be by the end of the week. It could be beginning of the next week. I just don't know. And Montgomery County won't commit to a timeline.
Okay, thanks.
There's no special.
That's,
Okay,
I don't have
so-
anything else.
Okay, thank you. I think at this point,
I
I'm
have a
going to
question.
ask Ms. Rosenfeld to present her rebuttal, and then there will be a final round of questions from the council, after which this portion will be closed, and I will turn it over to the council to deliberate the question. So go for it.
Thank you.
Attorney Rosenfeld.
Thank you very much. I want to be clear that when the garage was removed from the original set of plans that were considered by the council about 6 months ago, and I'm reading now from the council's decision, it says, the applicant's counsel explained that in order to address some of the concerns raised by neighbors, i.e. my clients, a previously proposed detached garage has been removed from the plans. This same garage is now reappeared 6 months later in a different form, significantly different form, completely different stormwater management. The garage is now located in the place where stormwater management previously had been located. And although the approved plans had a parking pad in front of the house, there was no driveway extending down the side of the property from the front of the house back to a garage. And so there have been significant changes, material changes that go to the heart of some of the concerns that were raised by my clients last time. With respect to not having an expert, I read plans a lot. I am not an expert. To me, it looks like the retaining wall is 150 feet long, but clearly I don't know. I've been corrected by the applicant. That's why it's so critical for my client to have somebody who knows how to read these plans and let us know if there is a potential concern, if there are issues that we should raise to the council. We don't know what we don't know. With respect to an appeal to the court, any arguments that we don't present to the council tonight are waived. We cannot raise them to a court. We cannot later go back and say, the council didn't consider this information because it wasn't presented to them. It's not in the record. My client is prejudiced both with respect to being able to effectively raise concerns, and there may be none, but we don't know. Like I said, we don't know what we don't know. My client is prejudiced in his inability to present an effective case tonight based on knowledgeable reading of the plans, and he would be prejudiced in any future appeal should the council decide tonight to grant that appeal, because we would have waived those arguments on the merits. So again, a shorter period of time than 30 days certainly seems reasonable to me, given the potential physical impacts to my client's property. Equity would say 10 days is not prejudicial when you're weighing the balance between the two property interests. And there are two property interests. So again, we would request a delay, and the council has discretion to grant a postponement. There are no standards that specifically govern how you make that decision. And we think under the facts of this case, it's the equitable thing to do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Council President Bardio. This is the final round. Do you have any questions?
I have no further questions at this time.
Oh, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
It might be prudent to have a very quick closed session to get legal advice.
Do you want to do it before, should we?
Yeah, before the council acts on the motion.
Before the last set of questions.
Yes, I think so, Mr.
Okay,
Mayor.
would you like, okay, please make the motion.
I'll make
Ron will.
Yeah.
Ron will.
Motion to enter closed session to obtain legal advice related to the motion to postpone that has been submitted under the general provisions article of the Maryland Code, section 3305B7, subparagraph 7.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Is there discussion? Okay, we go now.
Recording in progress.
Right. Okay.
It's all right.
Okay, so before we begin again, I'm gonna ask the town manager to announce the protocols.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This meeting is being recorded for those who are just joining us. If you are not involved in the current discussion, please remain quiet and keep yourself muted and your camera off. If you are involved in the discussion, please turn your camera on. If the Zoom meeting gets interrupted for any purpose, we will immediately end it and I will send that immediately via Zoom. I turn it back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So what the process is now is we will continue with questions, a final round of questions by the council, followed by Ms. Rosenfeld making any rebuttal. And then after that, I will turn it over to the town council president to lead the discussion, the decision on the request that has been made to continue the hearing for 30 days. And council president.
Right, I said already that I have no further questions at this time on the continuation motion.
Well, okay, Councilmember, sorry, if you have any questions.
No further questions.
I have a question. I have a question for the applicant.
Okay, so
You mentioned that, the gas line has to be, we're holding up the gas line. And do you not have gas into the house already?
No, I don't have gas in it.
So you built this house without the gas line being put in?
I mean, there is gonna be a gas line, it's just it's not connected to the main,
So-
or to Washington Gas.
Okay, so in other words, Washington Gas has to come out and do their thing, but your construction for a gas line into your home is done.
Oh.
Okay, that was my question. Okay.
Councilmember Kumar.
Steve is down.
I'm not.
I have one question, just to clarify, in your opinion, what is the length of the retaining?
Can I jump in?
Yeah, why don't you ask the
Yeah.
civil engineer? who's trained for it.
I would be in the same page.
Sure, this is Eric Titt, Cass Engineering. The retaining wall parallel to the property line is about 71 feet.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, no more questions from me.
Thank you, Councilmember Rovak.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Now, Ms. Rosenfeld, you have an opportunity to present any rebuttal before the council begins their deliberations on your request.
Thank you. And I think I really summed up our request just a few moments ago. This is it might be very straightforward to the applicant. This is his business. This is what he does. His engineer is here before you to tell you their view of what the application is. And again, this is specifically, these are the elements of the project that the applicant withdrew just prior to the last hearing to address my client's concerns. And now they're back. And of the 10 days notice that we have, I think 4 of them were weekend days. It's not a lot of time. It's a significant change to the project. There are significant changes to the grading and topography, significant changes to the location and style of stormwater management. And again, it's just exceedingly difficult for me to see how the applicant is prejudiced if we have some more time to allow our expert to review these plans to make sure that my client understands what's happening and has assurance that either there's no issue here, or if there is, that we can speak intelligently to it to the council. Again, this is not a change that's going to be in place for a few days or weeks or months. You build a retaining wall because it's in place for a long time. You build a garage and these kinds of stormwater facilities because they're in place for a long time. And not having that information would prejudice us if for some reason we felt like we had grounds for appeal, because we cannot put the substantive evidence in the record that we would need to make to protect those arguments, to preserve those arguments. So again, just on balance, looking at the equities, 10 days or so seems eminently fair and reasonable under these circumstances. And we ask for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now the hearing is on this request is completed, the record is closed. I will now turn it over to the council president to lead the deliberation decision. And you may be at rest then. Thank you.
All right, so again, the deliberation is on the continuation motion, so let's confine ourselves to arguments concerning the continuation. Let's see, Debbie, your thoughts?
I think we should continue it. I feel that with the change, this permit change is so great. It's, there was a garage and now the garage was taken out, now it's coming back. And it sounds like the applicant has work to do, and I think so do we.
All right, and Steve?
Well, as with other permit applications, Rob, I'm interested in stormwater management, and I'm somewhat concerned or confused by the paucity of information from Bayland in their letter to us. So I would like to know more about how this very large driveway and the garage does or does not satisfy stormwater requirements.
So you need more description from.
I would like Bayland to provide a more substantive report and assessment.
Okay. All right, thank you. And Shannon?
Yeah, I agree. I just I don't feel like I have enough information right now.
Okay.
Well, I think that Ms. Rosenthal's claim that an engineer was overloaded and could not review this wasn't a legitimate argument for why they couldn't review this. The process was followed. But at the same time, unfortunately, we don't have enough information as council to really look at the permit application thoroughly today. And we may end up denying the permit because we don't have or the permit amendment, we don't have all the information, especially including the Bayland report, which I think because it was an amendment, they just gave us, here's the green light without the background information. And it's very extensive, very good, but very extensive stormwater. So I'm also inclined to think we need a continuation. I do think that Mr. Barchiali, made a case for extensive hardship, quantified that hardship. So we should really err on the side of the, minimalist extension that we could give that, fits with, I think there's a notice period that we need to give. And so automatically that will put it 10 days. Yeah. So we need to, 10 to 15 days, maybe the next work session that's already on the books could be a marker. That would be my suggestion. So we don't delay it any further for the applicant.
All right, yeah, I mean, I'm hearing from you that you are supportive of continuing it for a variety of reasons. Partly because of the arguments Ms. Rosenfeld made, but partly also because we're missing information ourselves. We're missing information from Chris Stepp, who gave us a very summarized statement of the stormwater management plan, even though it is a substantially revised plan. And so we are seeking more information from him so as to assure ourselves that it is in fact appropriate for the construction. I will also note that we are lacking building administrator's notes on the plan now, which goes to things like how extensive the retaining wall is and the extent of the driveway. And that's missing from this report. So there's argument from our side to continue it because we need that information. So that's roughly where we are.
So you're prepared to make a motion?
When's our next work session?
What's that?
When is our next work session?
February 24th.
Yeah, so I move that we continue this application to our February 24th meeting. We will have a council meeting at our work session in order to handle it.
Okay, is there a second?
Second. Debbie was the second.
I second.
Okay, I saw. Okay. Thank you. Is there discussion? That's
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor? All dismissed, thank you.
Well, Mr. Mayor, we might just suggest as a practical matter, we could ask the applicant and the neighbors whether they're available on that day.
Ms. Rosenfeld.
You're
You're
muted.
muted.
I am available that day.
It's 5:30, it starts we start at 5:30.
But there's any way to do it sooner, we talked about 20 days, that's about 20 days.
The decision was the 24th. So are you available the 24th?
Yeah, we should have our DPS stormwater management permit approved, so. but-
Okay, so it'll be 5:30. Is it, you're available, right? Mr. Tenferman? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you very much.
To the matter. The next item is tree removal permits. The first one is public hearing consideration of a tree removal permit application submitted by John Medalia and Barbara Moranis to the property located 5406 Surrey Street for the removal of a white oak tree and removal of a persimmon tree. Mr. Dr. Feather.
Two trees. The white oak tree was struck by lightning previously, I don't know how many years.
Maybe 5 years ago?
Yeah, 5 years
Not
ago.
sure.
So you see in this picture, it has a split down the middle, and it's so that tree is hazardous. It's 31-inch diameter, and there's a 7-inch diameter persimmon tree that's dying in the back corner of the yard. And that's it, that's.
Okay, thank you. Did you?
Yes,
You're the applicant, sir. Mr. Yeah. Come forward and tell us your name, please.
Yes, my name is Jonathan Medalia. I live at 406 Surrey Street. And we have really wanted to keep, especially the white oak tree, but.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But we found that we just couldn't do it. It was hazardous. It could fall on our property, it could fall on our neighbor's property, and so reluctantly came to the conclusion that we didn't have to take them down. Thank you.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind staying there while we take the questions. Council President Barr, do you have any questions?
So, yeah, have you any plans to plant another oak, or have you other oaks growing there?
We don't have plans to plant another tree there.
Is there another place in your yard where a tree would go, or?
We have actually several quite large trees in the back. There's a very large oak tree on the other side of the house. There's a magnolia tree in the front. There's some other, couple of other kinds of trees.
It's almost woods.
Okay, good enough. All right. You're living in the woods. Fine.
Council Member Circo.
No question.
Councilor Heller.
No question.
Councilor Kumar.
No questions.
Councilmember Rovak.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Council, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, move that we approve the tree removal permit to remove the white oak tree and the persimmon tree at 5406 Surrey Street.
Is there a second? Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. The next item, public hearing, consideration of a tree removal permit application submitted by Leanne McDougal for the property located at 5405 Greystone Street for the removal of a tulip poplar tree.
This is the 40-inch tulip poplar that's, you can see in the picture, it's at the corner of the house in the backyard. And it has a large leader in the center that's died back, and there's rock now where all the leaders meet, so it's a hazardous tree.
Thank you. Council President Barr, do you have any questions?
I've got no questions on this one.
Councilor Circo.
No question.
Councilor Heller.
Your question.
Councilor Kumar.
No question.
Councilor
No questions.
And I take attention of that. Council, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I move that we approve the permit application to remove the tulip poplar tree at 5405 Greystone Street.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And now, I would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to obtain legal advice from the town attorney. If you could, please.
Don't we need a reason?
So
He's gonna bring the reason. Counsel, Mr. Town Attorney, can you? Can you?
All right. I move that we go into executive session to obtain advice from the town attorney for further code interpretation concerning enforcement.
Is that?
Yes,
Okay, is there a second?
and we need to sign the statement.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, counsel.